All right, we're going to try that again. My microphone was hating life there for a moment. Sorry about that. Had to restart the stream. Good morning, everybody. Good to see you all. Pardon me as I take a sip of my tasty beverage. Yeah, good stuff. Morning, Matthew, Lewis, Amar. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Andrew, yeah, that clip sums up the morning, no doubt. Can't wait to hear some hungover cheese. I don't know what you're talking about, sir. Bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. That's a good question. Who do you think would be a bad matchup in the NFC? I mean, I think there's any team, any given Sunday, etc. I think there's not a team the Packers can't beat, and the biggest problem they're going to have is beating themselves, most likely. I don't fear any of the NFC contenders. That's for damn sure. I do think the Tampa rematch, if there was one, would be a tough game for the Pack. I do think they could beat the Saints again. I'm pretty sure they could handle the Seahawks. But I don't know. We'll see. There's a month to go. Teams will be playing differently than they are now. We'll see. Wyndon, what's up, man? How are you? Brandy recovered yet? I don't know. I haven't seen her this morning. Corey, Nags, hi. I'm ready to move on to the Eagles. Just one more thing. Can the sports media stop praising the Bears defense already? Didn't we beat the brakes off that D? They did. That doesn't make them untalented or a bad defense. They just have no support from their offense. They were missing their best player in Akeem Hicks. So, there's a reason those things happened. But yeah, the Packers rolled over them. And that is a good defense. I should tell you something about the Packers. Would have loved to see a 50 burger hung in the Bears maybe next time. Well, Alex, it certainly seemed like they were trying there towards the end. Rodgers was still in. They were throwing it. Obviously, they were still also trying to run the clock, though. Happy birthday, Aaron Charles Rodgers. Yes, it is Aaron Rodgers' birthday today. Getting up there, old man. Do I have a preference between 3-4 and 4-3 defenses? Not really, especially this day and age. Things are so sub-base driven, as far as nickel packages, dime, what have you. You're very rarely in a traditional 3-4 or a 4-3. Although obviously most defenses are based out of those principles. It's all cyclical in the sense that I remember when the Packers ran 4-3 forever and then pining for them to switch to a 3-4. And now it seems like Packers fans are kind of wishing I get a lot more of it now. I think after so many years of Dom and now Mike Pettin, I get the sense Packer fans want to push back to a 4-3, which I totally get. I don't really have a preference for either one. I just want them to have the players to run it. Dustin, thanks for the super chat. Who's ready for some checks notes? Wednesday afternoon football. So glad it will be done in time to see a stand of lights plugged in. That is messed up. But I'll watch it like the crackhead I am. Obviously, it'll be starting. I believe the kickoff is at 5:40. Is that right? No, 3:40 this afternoon. So it'll be before transplants. Transplants is at 5 this afternoon, kids. Do you think, Justin, thanks for the super chat. Do you think there's any correlation between the defense looking better and the end staying home and setting the edge more consistently? I don't know. I don't really. I mean, there's been a bit of that, no doubt about it. I do think they've done a much better job against RPOs and things of that nature. As far as the run game goes, yeah, I think Gary playing more has helped. And I think there's just been a better sense of attacking the football, swarming to the ball. You've definitely seen that in the last two games. I think that more than anything, it's just a emphasis and I don't know, a change in what they're practicing, emphasizing, etc. I don't know, but it has been noticeable. And to me, that has been the biggest difference. Now, they're still giving up way too many points. So for all that, good work they do, they've got to be a lot more consistent. Sternberger blocking has been lacking. I'm not sure I agree with your police work there. Hank Bulla does not want a 4-3. What's up, Chad? Man, what a blast from the past that name is. Holy cow. Jacob, Nags, watching the Eagles game on Monday, you can see they hit hard and send a message. It seems the Packers lack in that area. Curious to know your thoughts, Jacob. I talk about it all the time. They are not that type of defense. Never have been. Obviously a lot of that comes from their defensive coordinator, and the Packers just have not ever had that mentality, or that they'll coach up the players that way, or drafted those types of players. They want guys who are all ball, who obviously play within the rules, don't have too many hard-hitting echo of the whistle type guys. It just hasn't been their MO for decades now. The new wide receiver play this weekend, Todd? I would think so, since the Packers announced the signing of Tavon Austin yesterday. That would mean, traditionally, we're in very untraditional times, but traditionally that means that he's gone through everything he needs to, including a physical. They don't ever put those announcements out unless that's happened. So with that said, I suspect he'll be on the practice field this afternoon, and probably a good chance we see him on Sunday. Did Preston Smith read all the tweets? I think partly that, and partly he saw Gary getting more playing time. What else we got? Fritz Shermer. Oh, another great name from the past. It's good that Austin can be eased into the offense, contribute on special teams early, and have him learn the playbook and earn 12's trust. Well, don't forget, Robin, he's probably pretty familiar with the scheme. One of the connections to Tavon Austin is the fact that Matt LaFleur was on staff as the offensive coordinator in Los Angeles with the Rams when Austin was there. So I would think he's got probably has a decent handle on the scheme. This is the way. What's up, Christopher? Michelle, let's go Packers. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. How will Austin be used? I think he'll be utilized mostly as a returner early on. And then depending on how severe Tyler Ervin's injury is, maybe they utilize him that way, much in Tyler's role, pretty much. That's the jet motion guy, jet sweep, get him out on the perimeter, get the ball in space, etc. But we'll see. I think we'll start to get some of those answers this afternoon when we get our first injury report. 2019 draft class showing up. You bet, Paul. They really are. I think Savage is coming off his best 2-game stretch. Gary's playing more. You like to see it. I'd love for them to get something a bit more out of Kiki, but for the most part, those guys are starting to show. Thanks, Parker Hyde 3. Nagler, you're a joke. What's funny about things like that is that Parker Hyde 3 isn't even a real name. But you're using my name, which I offer up publicly, to stand behind everything I do when it comes to talking about the Packers. Do you think the emergence of Runyon limits the form? Oh, whoa. Two things go together there. Do you think the emergence of Runyon limits the chance of Lindsley coming back next year? Not really. I do think it was always going to be hard for them to re-sign Corey, as much as my co-founder and I would love that to happen. That day 3 of that draft told you where all you'd really need to know as far as they were looking out for not only restocking the offensive line, but looking out for the future and looking out for contracts that were upcoming, including Corey's. So I don't really think the play, it's nice that it's obviously nice that they seem to have hit. It's still early, but the kid seems to be able to play. So that certainly probably eases the transition out of Corey. But there's a ways to go. We'll see what happens. He has to come back. I know the report was 3 to 6 weeks. So we'll see if he even steps back on the field this year. William, thanks to the super chat. I think the main reason we lost to the Eagles last year was because they wanted it more. We got this. I remember at that time, that game, they were in a losing streak, and there were whispers of, what was wrong with the Eagles, etc. And they came into Lambeau and they played a good game. The biggest thing, you got to remember about that game is obviously that was the game that Devontae got going after a slow start to the season. And then he got hurt at the end. If he's not hurt, I think they probably win that game. But the other big kind of takeaway rewatching that game is how little the Packers could do on the ground. They could not run the ball to save their life against that Eagles defensive line. So they've got to figure out a way to get that done on Sunday. no doubt about. Bears still suck too. Yeah, true, fair. Preston, what a super chat. Biggest mistakes Ted Thompson made as a GM? Well, I talked about it a lot. The weird kind of period of letting Micah Hyde walk. I'll never understand that, although apparently that was a Russ Ball decision. What else? Justin Harrell. Those are two good ones. Am I the only one to notice all the phantom penalties in the NFL this year? I don't think they're phantom. I just think never attribute conspiracy when in fact it's incompetence or something like that. That's what I think. Yeah, there have been some ticky-tack calls, but it's no different than any other year. Brandy, but we didn't draft any wide receivers. Exactly. Colin Jenkins leaving. Lewis, that is a good one. I actually just talked to somebody about that yesterday. Letting Jenkins walk was a big blow for that defense. He played so well down the stretch of that last contract in Green Bay. He absolutely should have been brought back. That's a good one. I know Jones probably unlikely, but think Packers can re-sign Jamal Williams to go with Dillon? Yeah, Robbie, I think it's possible. I still think they get something done with Jones, though. But we'll see. We got a month left. Injuries can always kind of shake those things out for you. Obviously, you hope that's not the case. But I do think one of them will be back. I don't know which one. But I would put, if I were a betting man, which I am not, I would put my money on Jones. Was MLF talking about you when he said Aaron would be happy if Tim Boyle plays? Yeah, he was joking about the fact that I asked about Tim Boyle warming up early in the session. Also, do you suspect that Tavon Austin is the fastest on our team now? Yeah, I don't know. That's a good question. Be a good race between him and MVS. I like MVS's long strides there, though. Ted is a Hall of Famer. I agree. Next, what's the biggest mistake Goody has made so far? That weird 24-hour period where he cut Mike Daniels and signed Lowry to an extension. I'll never get that. I don't know if he was held hostage or what, but I don't get that one at all. Can you find a Jamal Williams in the draft? Can't you find a Jamal Williams in the draft? Well, yeah, you found Jamal Williams in the draft. But yeah, of course. I mean, the idea being, can you find a complimentary back, etc. I mean, they did just draft A.J. Dillon. So, yeah, probably. But it's about more than just, positional need. Sometimes it's culture fit. Sometimes it's production in the offense, which is why I think Aaron Jones is the one who probably gets re-signed. Rogers Tuesdays on Pat McAfee's show have been incredible. Yep. Oh, yeah. Jimmy Graham, pay the fees. Jimmy Graham is definitely up there as far as Goody's worst moves. Passed on TJ Watt. I know Packer fans will never forgive him. I understand it, though. They needed a cover corner, and they got Kevin King. And they got another pick out of it, too, which, turns out that kid the Wisconsin Beagle, who they let walk, can kind of play. That was always weird to me. Brian, thanks for doing this. That's great, Brian. That is outstanding. Oh, my goodness. Does King come back next year? I doubt it. I think he probably gets paid on the open market. And we'll see. It's so hard, too, because so many teams are going to have to let go of veteran guys because of the salary cap crunch that's coming due to the COVID issues. The revenue streams drying up. The cap will go down for the first time in memory. So there are going to be some weird kind of moments, I think, with players and teams. But that said, I also think there will be teams with lots of cap space who will gladly take a long cover corner like Kevin. How important is it to get early production out of the draft picks? It looks like if players start peaking at the end of their rookie contract, it can maybe be too late. No, I don't think. I mean, yeah, you want to get production, as much production as you can, wring out of those 4 years. But sometimes the light's going to come on when it comes on. Sometimes you just can't control that. But then at other times, they're like you keep waiting for it to happen, like with Oren Burks, and then it never does. Each one is an investment, and each one you have to let play out and see. Again, if they're a culture fit, if they're really good, work really well in your scheme, good teammate, locker room, etc. There's so much that goes into that decision making that I think gets dismissed on the outside, especially on Twitter. Look, I understand second guessing, armchair quarterback. That's the nature of the game, right? That's what we do. Hell, I have a fucking show where I talk to people with the Packers every day. I get it. We got to make the content, but the people calling Rashawn Gary a bust, last year when he barely played like 8 games or something, like it's so absurd. Someone's in here right now calling Kevin King an average corner. Is he Darrelle Revis in his prime? No, of course not. Is he a shutdown guy? No. He does get a ton of work because of the fact that he plays across from Jair. But, quarterbacks aren't going after Jair. They're going after Kevin. Of course they are. That doesn't mean he's average. Andrew, thanks to the super chat. Juju a pick after Jones. Yeah, it was ifs and buts, nuts, all that jazz. Man, it's December. The draft is in April. Next draft is in next April. Can't stay healthy, Mr. Glass. Well, Danny, now there you have a legit complaint, no doubt. Kevin has been unable to stay on the field when he is there, and he has fought through some stuff. Don't forget, remember last year he was that Friday where he was like doubtful to play, and he ended up playing on Sunday. The guy has fought to get on the field. It's just his body doesn't seem to want to make that happen all the time. I remember when Lambeau used to be an advantage. Justin, thanks to the super chat. So do I. I remember those Holmgren days when you just knew they were going to win because they were in Lambeau. The problem was that stigma stuck around and people started believing in it a little too much, and that's when the Falcons and Michael Vick came in and tore that all up. How are the Packers going to get stronger next year if they can't re-sign some of their core players? That's why they call it draft and develop. They're going to have to develop people. A lot of other teams are going to be in the same boat. They probably won't be doing a ton of shopping in free agency. They've got to let their young guys come to the fore. Mid-90s, fun times at Lambeau. You better believe it. Don't be a naive homer. David, don't be a dismissive fan. How about that? We'll meet in the middle. You use dismissive language like that, I automatically turn off. It's like, talk radio nonsense. Sorry, buddy. You're in the wrong spot if you're looking for it. Will there ever be a dome over Lambeau? Hell no. Hell no. Hell no. No. How many TDs has Rodgers thrown to second round draft picks? A lot. A whole lot. Savage was the highest rated player this week. Oh, that makes sense because he played really well. I guess that's kind of how it works. All right, guys, I'm going to have to get going. Please visit us tonight, 5 p.m. I'm back in the studio for Packer Transplants. Corey will be joining us live from Green Bay. It's going to be a lot of fun. And then Patreon members, the Patreon happy hour is tomorrow night, 6 p.m. The Zoom info is on the Patreon page. If you haven't yet, please consider giving us $5 a month and joining Patreon, patreon.com/cheeseheadtv to help support everything we do with the brand. If you can't, totally understand. Please just hit like on this video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, tell your family, Cheesehead TV. We are devoted to Green Bay Packers fans worldwide. Thanks a lot, everybody. Have a great day. Go Pack, go.